One's for JV, one's for varsity.
Yeah, but varsity's all out. This is JV.
But the brackets say that this is the final.
Yeah, this is for JV, yeah.
Yeah.
Because DAA and AES both make. No. ACS
We're
make.
voted confused on.
Is this JV or is this JV?
Wait, but it says in the brackets that this is the final. So how is it called?
Maybe it's final then.
Five guys are doing it.
Yeah, that's what I said. But you said it's consolation.
Didn't you only watch We're watching that video that we won 1-0. Oh, yeah. I watched it and saw the goal.
한이가 삐뚤어요.
I said it didn't watch because it forgot it knew what was happening. Because you forget that you forget what it is. Oil. Oh, at the end of the day, you'll see it I know that. No, I'm weird. At the same time, I'm not. Wow. Missing half of the people. Who had the bike? You don't get it, bro. You don't watch anyone.
야, 너 4살이라고 했지?
It's really nice of her without support.
그래, 맞아. 아니, 4살이라고 했어.
I think something that you should know. Yeah, 의미가 있는 걸 해야 되는 거야. 여기 있어, 나도. 의미가 봐. Lay your head on the ground. No, this is now it's going
Wait, guys, move down one. Move down one.
Hey, what do you want to ask about? What is consolation?
Is it consolation?
Yeah, this is consolation. Dictation case. What are you doing? Look at the teams right now. It's now HMI and DA.
No, I don't have. Yeah, go one more. Okay, put your feet up.
Watch Mr. Murder walk in like, oh, Pop, what are you doing?
South Korean kind of. Some daily like
Academic Games Day 3 competition, consolation rounds, and finals. We'll start with our JV consolation, and I'd like to introduce the number 2 seed, DAAB team. And their opponent in this consolation match, the number 5 seed, AS Dubai A. Spectators, please remember that all cell phones should be turned off or on silent. Please do not shout out any answers. Please stay quiet in the audience. Teams, let's do a buzzer test.
Yes. Speaker for Dubai. Speaker for AES. Sorry, DAA. The other wrong side.
Hello? Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready? Teams ready? You can, or you can speak it straight to me if I can hear you. Teams ready? Toss up, solid geometry. Name the perpendicular distance from an apex of a cone to its base.
Apothem.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the
On your
question.
time, name the perpendicular distance from the apex of a cone to its base.
I refer to Jihong. Chord.
Incorrect. Altitude. Toss up. Fields of science. Homology or plumage science is the study of what?
The heart.
Incorrect.
Please repeat.
Homology or plumage science is the study of what?
Study of feathers.
Correct for 5. Bonus. European borders. How many countries border on both the Mediterranean and the Bay of Biscay?
France and Spain. So 2 countries.
2 is correct for 2. Toss up. Latin America. The coast of what country extends from Guyana to Colombia?
Bolivia.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
On your time, the coast of what country extends from Guyana to Colombia?
Venezuela.
Correct for 5. Bonus. Moral palindromes. What word completes this palindrome? Borrow or
Give.
incorrect? Raw. Toss up. Biology. What is the collective name for the physical structures, characteristics, and behaviors?
Lattice structure.
Incorrect. What is the collective name for the physical structures, characteristics, and behaviors that evolve over time to enable an organism to survive and reproduce in a particular environment.
Evolution.
Incorrect. Adaptations. Toss-up. Dental chemistry. What binary compound in many toothpaste binds to the enamel?
Fluoride.
Correct for 5. Bonus question. Narwhals. What substance comprises the long, spirally twisted tusks of narwhals?
Calcium.
Incorrect. Ivory. Toss-up. Landforms. Since San Lorenzo Canyon in New Mexico is a gully cut by an intermittent stream, what is the Spanish term for this kind of landform?
Mesa.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
On your time, since San Lorenzo Canyon in New Mexico is a gully cut by an intermittent stream, what is the Spanish term for this kind of landform?
Cancion.
Incorrect. Arroyo. Toss-up. Cubes. What is the surface area of a cube that is 3 feet on a side?
I refer to Jihan.
54 feet square.
Correct for 5. Bonus question. Explosions. For a brief period, what spectacular explosive phenomenon may outshine an entire galaxy of billions of stars?
The supernova.
Correct for 2. Toss-up. Lakes. Most of the lake named for Gamal Abdel Nasser lies in what country?
Egypt.
Correct for 5. Bonus. Controlled substances. Caffeine, nicotine, amphetamines, and cocaine increase sympathetic nervous system activity to elevate mood, produce a sense of euphoria, and increase wakefulness. These are all examples of what class of drugs?
Antidepressants.
Incorrect. Stimulants. Toss-up. Olympic history. In 1908, the game of the fourth modern Olympiad were held in what city?
Athens.
Incorrect. In 1908, the game of the fourth modern Olympiad were held in what city? It is also the location of the Tower Bridge, Madame Tussauds, the Royal Greenwich Observatory, and Westminster Abbey.
London.
Correct for 5. Bonus question. Traditions. In what European country are these annual traditions? Montreux Jazz Festival, the Carnival Festival,
France.
Toss-up birds. What bird flies back and forth in the Arctic?
The Arctic Tern.
Correct for 5. Bonus adjectives. Degree of comparison is used in the model.
Fifth degree.
Correct. Comparative degree. Toss-up whales. While human brain weighs about 3 pounds, whales have brains weighing 2 pounds.
Dolphin.
Incorrect. While human brains weigh about 3 pounds, but brain whales have brains in 8 meters range, giving them the largest brain mass in the world.
Blue whale.
Incorrect. Sperm whale. Toss up liquid pressure. The formula for pressure in a liquid is D times G times H, where D is the density of the fluid and G is the standard gravity of 9.8 meters per second per second. What is the H?
I refer to Jihan.
Height.
Incorrect. The formula for pressure in a liquid is D times G times H, where D is the density of the fluid and G is a standard gravity of 9.8 meters per second per second. What does the H stand for?
Height of the liquid.
It is depth of the object in the liquid. Toss-up. Energy resources. Many homes in Ireland are still used by burning what substance described? Incorrect. Many homes in Ireland are still heated by burning what substance described as a particularly carbonized mass of mosses and other vegetable matter?
Ethanol.
Incorrect. Peat. Toss up mirrors. Name the kind of mirror that is shaped like the inside of a small.
Concave mirrors.
Correct for 5. Bonus question. Rock applications. The Taj Mahal is made of marble, while the Great Sphinx was carved from what kind of rock?
Sandstone.
Correct for 2. Toss up. Binary division. Expressed as a decimal number, the quotient of these binary numbers. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, divided by 1, 1, 1.
I forget.
4.2.
Incorrect. 9. Toss up. Participles. What are the participles in this line from Moby Dick? I know not all that may be coming, but be it will what it will, I will.
Can you finish?
What are the participles in this line from Moby Dick? I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing.
Coming and laughing.
Correct for 5. Bonus. Toss up. As the crow flies, the shortest distance between the Soviet Union and the United States was over what strait?
Bering Strait.
Correct for 5. Toss up. Operas. Richard Wagner's opera, The Flying Dutchman, is about a doomed what?
Ship.
Correct for 5. Toss up. Visual arts. While monochromatic art is produced with only.
Polychromatic.
Incorrect. While monochromatic art is produced with only tones, shades, and tints of a single color, what kind of art incorporates only black, white, and grays?
Amochromatic.
Could you repeat?
Amochromatic.
Incorrect. Achromatic. Toss up. Sentences. What is the subject in these sentences? Clap your hands. Stamp.
You.
Correct for 5. Bonus question. Toss up question. Emergency help. These are examples of people who are known as what kind of responders? Police officer.
First responders.
Correct for 5. Toss up. Percentage problems. When the Lone Ranger gave away 25% of his silver bullets, he had 345 left. How many did he?
Time. 460.
Correct for 5. Toss-up question, medieval history. What kind of medieval organization might include these kinds of specialists?
A guild.
Correct for 5. Toss-up bonus question, involuntary movement. What is the name for the abnormal rhythmic oscillating or shaking movement of a body part?
A seizure.
Incorrect. Tremors, twitch, spasm, or shiver. Toss-up, South Africans. After arriving in South Africa at the age of 18, the British statesman and financier Cecil Rhodes made his fortune in what?
Diamonds.
Correct for 5. Bonus wordplay. These lines illustrate what form of wordplay? I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. I thought of thanking you. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop.
Tongue twisters.
Correct for 2. Toss up myths. What Greek mythical character unraveled a clue so he could find his way out of a maze?
Theseus.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
On your time, what Greek mythical character unraveled a clue so he could find his way out of the maze?
Orpheus.
Incorrect. Theseus. Toss up number problems. If the difference between two numbers is 18 and their sum is 864, what are the numbers?
Time.
I refer to pronouns.
23 and 5.
Incorrect. 23 and 41. Toss up rodents. Rodents have what kind of teeth that never...
Incisors.
Correct for 5. Bonus question, cinema. What is the term for movie actors who have minor non-speaking roles as a part of a crowd or as people in the background?
Extras.
Correct for 2. Toss up dendrology. Acacias are the dominant tree in the savanna of what continent?
Africa.
Correct for 5.
Skill bonus.
Toss up mountains. A 40-foot cliff near the summit of what Asian mountain has been known as?
Mount Everest.
Correct for 5. Bonus, horrible times. This is about what capital of a European country in the 18th century. Executions rose from 13 per month in 1793 to 65 per month in January and February of 1794, and then to 135 a month in March and April. In the next 11 months, 10,636 were guillotined.
Paris.
Correct for 2. Toss up nouns. In relation to parts of speech, what article may precede an uncountable noun?
Adjective.
Incorrect.
Please repeat.
In your time, in relation to parts of speech, what article may precede an uncountable noun?
The.
Correct for 5. Bonus, platitudes. What pronoun is missing in each of these platitudes? Maybe blank part just isn't in it. You have to know blank limitations. Blank time will come. You have blank whole life ahead.
Your.
Correct for 2.
Thank you to our readers and our timers.
Below Columbia, and they're both in the cover of Ecuador is really tough. Mexico is tiny as fuck. Why is he making more logic?
Yeah, Kazakhstan is shooting from Solar today, but it makes like perfect. Look. There's that. There's Look at this guy.
You know how it works?
Birthday nap, Frankie?
Frankie,
Birthday nap, huh?
good decision. Also, you tired? Let me go a couple of times before. Ruby? Yeah? Ruby? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for saving my life. No humor.
None of them are politicians, they buy seats. They're like take Pokemon Go, and they're all just so real. How much does this cost? All you can do is go to the street. Like 20 like 20 or 5 rubles. There's 250. Actually, it's to like 150. Really? Yeah, Well, alright, there goes my college money. I'm joining Russian college. How many years is it? Permanent? 4 years. 4 years?
And if you're a good guy, if you like vote for everything that Putin says and everything, you get a salary $80,000 a year. You get a BMW for free. You still there forever.
That's a good investment.
Huh?
I'm actually like
because you have to like see that people would, like people
I'm okay. I'll naturalize myself as a Russian citizen. I'll do it.
because you can't fly out.
아니 얘가 넌 수영하는 거
Like holidays.
다른 것도 다 했어.
All the rich people like they work in one of the
나 솔직히 수학 말고 다른 거 수학도 잘 못해 심지어. 수학 못하고 다른 거야.
Yes, $80,000 you get a BMW.
말일 풀었어? 찍었지?
And it's really boring. Imagine every day sitting there for like 5 hours listening to some shit like every day. Maybe they should like make
아니 공부했어 심지어 오기 전에. 나 왜 what's the stop and asphalt thing?
Oh yeah. The so far off. Yeah, the thing that she's really like put the stickers.
This video it was on my recommended list and I watched it. It's so entertaining. One guy pulled out a gun. How many of them die per year?
I don't know, but
There's a team, right?
너는 ASU 50도 왜 했어? 너는 ASU 50도 왜 했어? 야 니랑 우리가
동네 애들이
아 이거 학생들 수업 받는 거야?
one of them was the minister of the interior. Like, for a port. We joined for a port.
디자인 접었자고 해 디자인.
야 예비가
We're gonna kill you for 10 years. I'm like that. And like sometimes the Chechens are like they whip out guns.
Yeah, right. Remember this Chechen guy like this tall? This little kid. Oh, I'm in the Red Army band. Okay, I served this nation. Like, we served our driving the roads. You know what? He calls the cops to arrest him, and he gets arrested. It's hilarious. That guy actually pulled out a gun.
Spelling is something that didn't just
Yeah, no, honestly, that was so spicy.
I mean, spelling is also
Yeah, individual.
What school is she going to?
How many points off third are we?
Push.
Polish.
Oh my god, that seems way too long for
So when you take happy
Wait, when is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can head back to our seats now, we'll be starting here shortly. Please head back to your seats, take a seat, please. Welcome to those that are up in the balcony, the spectators joining us. Thank you for coming out and watching this. It's awesome. I do have a couple of requests though, please. Just like we've told the ladies and gentlemen down here, please turn your cell phones on silent. And also please do not shout out any answers. We need it to be quiet so that they can hear. All right? All right, looks about time to start. we'll go ahead and do the intro. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the varsity constellation. We had a very good JV constellation just now, the varsity constellation, and I'd like to call out the following teams.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And in the 7th seed, AESA. And their opponent for the varsity constellation, the 5th seed, ACSA.
Okay, can we do a buzzer check? Right, and Spokes, can we test out your microphones?
Now if you can stay quiet in the audience, please.
Toss up, proteins. What intracellular fibrous protein gives hair, nails, and skin their... Correct for 5 points. Bonus, chemical reactions. While neutralization is usually an exothermic process, the dissociation of most salts is what kind of process? Correct for 2 points. Toss up, self-deception. What do psychologists call the use of feeble but seemingly plausible arguments either... Correct for 5 points. Bonus, treaties. SALT I, an agreement between the United States and the Soviet Union, was negotiated by Richard Nixon and Soviet President Leonid Kuhn. Incorrect answer is Brezhnev. Toss up, poisons. Name the type of poisonous secretion that is usually injected through a sting, bite, or sharp. Correct for 5 points. Bonus, Lewis Carroll. What word for a leather suitcase with 2 hinged compartments is missing in this line from through the looking glass? Well, slithy means lithe and slimy, and mimsy is flimsy and miserable. You see, it's like a blank, since there are 2 meanings packed up into 1 word. The incorrect answer is portmanteau. Toss up, mixtures. If you mix sand and water, the sand will disperse throughout the water until, after a period of time, the sand settles out. Before it settles out, the water and sand form what kind of mixture?
Heterogeneous mixture.
Incorrect. Incorrect. The answer is suspension. Toss up, petrology. When a stone is embedded at the surface, its upper...
Shale.
Incorrect. When a stone is embedded at the surface, its upper part may be polished by the abrasive action of wind, while its lower part in the ground may remain angular. Rhyming with artifact, what is the term for such a stone? Incorrect. The answer is ventifact. Toss up, literary works. The Signet Classics Bible is 40% shorter than the 850,000 word King James Version. Therefore, it is an example. Correct for 5 points. Bonus, title inspirations. Paths of Glory is the title of a book about World War I, a biography of General James Wolfe, and a novel by Jeffrey Archer. That phrase is part of a verse from what poem by Thomas Gray? Incorrect. It's elegy written in a country courtyard. Sorry, country churchyard. Toss-up, sports literature. These books are about what sport? The Miracle of Castel de Sangro, Inventing the Pyramid.
Baseball.
Incorrect. These books are about what sport? The Miracle of Castel de Sangro, Inventing the Pyramid, The Ball is Round, The Beckham Experiment, Goalkeepers Are Different, Football. Correct for 5 points. Bonus, neutrons. What is the mass number of a neutron? Correct for 2 points. Toss-up, age problems. If Fred is 21 years older than Ethel, and the sum of their ages is 47, how old is Ethel? Correct for 5 points. Bonus. Toss-up. Clouds. While cataractogenitus clouds are created by the spray from waterfalls, silvergenitus clouds form from the evaporation above. Incorrect. While cataractogenitus clouds are created by the spray from waterfalls, silvergenitus clouds form from the evaporation above what? Incorrect. The answer is forests. Toss-up, crimes. All of these historical figures were victims of what crime? Richard the Lionheart, St. Patrick.
Assassination.
Incorrect. All of these historical figures were victims of what crime? Richard the Lionheart, St. Patrick, Miguel de Cervantes, Leon Perdicaris, Chiang Kai-shek, Patricia Hearst, Charles Lindbergh Jr. Incorrect. The answer is kidnapping. Toss-up, geologic time. The Cretaceous, the final period of the Mesozoic era, was named for crater, the Latin word for what substance that is... Incorrect. The Cretaceous, the final period of the Mesozoic era, was named for crater, the Latin word for what substance that is extensively deposited along the British cliffs facing the English Channel. Incorrect. The answer is chalk. Toss-up. Washington geology. Named for a major river, what basalts cover most of southeastern Washington? Incorrect. Incorrect. The answer is Columbia River basalts. Toss-up, memorials. On what island is the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial?
Taiwan.
Correct for 5 points. Toss-up, leaks. Your leaky kitchen faucet drips a single drop of water every second. If it takes 3,000 of these drops to fill a 200 milliliter can, to the nearest liter, how much water is lost? Incorrect. Your leaky kitchen faucet drips a single drop of water every second. If it takes 3,000 of these drops to fill a 200 milliliter can, to the nearest liter, how much water is lost by this faucet daily? Incorrect. The answer is 6 liters. Toss-up, archaeology. Many archaeologists have found evidence linking the collapse of the Minoan civilization to the massive eruption of what volcano? Incorrect. Many archaeologists have found evidence linking the collapse of the Minoan civilization to the massive eruption of what volcano around 1600 BC?
Thera.
Correct for 5 points. Toss-up, sculpture. The thousands of soldiers and hundreds of horses.
Yeah.
Incorrect. The thousands of soldiers and hundreds of horses that were buried along with the first Chinese emperor in the 3rd century BC are what form of earthenware? Correct for 5 points. Bonus, laws. Name the kind of laws that retroactively exempt a group of people from culpability for specific crimes they have committed. Incorrect, the answer is amnesty. Toss up, grammatical mood. What mood is used in this bit of advice? If you can't fix it, correct for 5 points. Toss up, navigation. By how many degrees would your heading change if you adjusted your course from north-northwest to south-southeast? Incorrect. Correct for 5 points. Bonus, biology history. Through his crossbreeding experiments with plants, who proved the blending theory of inherited characteristics was wrong? Correct for 2 points. Toss up, plate tectonics. What kind of plate boundaries resulted in the formation of the Cascade Mountains and the... Correct for 5 points. Bonus, islands. The fourth largest island in the Mediterranean is also the Mediterranean's most mountainous. Name this island north of Sardinia that was the birthplace of Napoleon. Correct for 2 points. Toss up, speaking styles. What adjective derived from the name of a region in ancient Greece means terse or concise? Incorrect. Incorrect, the answer is laconic. Toss up, unusual etymology. What synonym for giant or mammoth was derived from the name of a creature once exhibited by P.T.? Incorrect. What synonym for giant or mammoth was derived from the name of a creature once exhibited by P.T. Barnum? Incorrect. The answer is jumbo. Toss up, physics history. In Erwin Schrödinger's thought experiment about quantum mechanics, what kind of animals? Correct for 5 points. And toss up, wildlife vocabulary. What term in wildlife management indicates the leaves, shoots, brushy plants, and... Incorrect. What term in wildlife management indicates the leaves, shoots, brushy plants, and young twigs consumed by deer and other ungulates? Incorrect, the answer is browse. Toss up, science fiction. What character in 2001 A Space Odyssey says this? I know that you and Frank were planning to... Correct for 5 points. Bonus, government. In what form of government would the decision makers be selected based on their knowledge and skills in particular fields? Correct for 2 points. Toss up, eruptions. In 2016, astronomers photographed evidence of water vapor erupting in plumes shooting as high as 125 miles above the surface of what Jovian...
Europa.
Correct for 5 points. Toss up, European regions. In addition to Austria, Italy, Switzerland, France, and Germany, name another alpine... Correct for 5 points. Toss up, asteroid symbols. Based on Roman mythology, a pomegranate is the symbol for what Incorrect. Based on Roman mythology, a pomegranate is the symbol for what asteroid? Incorrect. The answer is Proserpina. Proserpina. Toss up, fictional nicknames. In Yann Martel's novel about an Indian boy and a Bengal tiger, what is... Correct for 5 points. Bonus, influential painters. Based on a Greek myth, what painting by Caravaggio depicts a young man lovingly staring at his own reflection in a pool of water? Correct for 2 points. Toss up, chemical bases. Bases are substances that produce what kind of ions?
Anions.
Incorrect. Bases are substances that produce what kind of ions in water? Incorrect, it's hydroxide ions. Toss up, bays. What expansive bay lies between Ellesmere Island, Baffin?
Hudson Bay.
Incorrect. What expansive bay lies between Ellesmere Island, Baffin Island, and Greenland? Incorrect, it's Baffin Bay. Toss up, emperors. In the year 312, what Roman emperor converted? Toss-up, atmospheric pressure. Named for a province, what is the term for a low-pressure system centered? Incorrect. Named for a province, what is the term for a low-pressure system centered on the eastern slope of the Canadian Rockies? More information? Incorrect. The answer is Alberta Low. Toss-up, evolution. The diversification over evolutionary time of one species. Incorrect. The diversification over evolutionary time of one species into several different species that are adapted to different ecological niches is called adaptive what? Incorrect. The answer is radiation. Toss-up, mythical etymology. What term for violent anger or rage was derived from the name of the three-winged... Incorrect. What term for violent anger or rage was derived from the name of the three-winged Greek goddesses who pursued and punished the wicked?
Furies.
Correct, 4 or 5 points. Toss-up, fishing physics. When trolling, the shape of the curve formed by the fishing line is half of what kind of curve?
Hyperbola.
Incorrect. When trolling, the shape of the curve formed by the fishing line is half of what kind of curve, the whole of which would have the appearance of a parabola? Incorrect. It's catenary. Toss-up.
All right, I know you get a little restless here. You've been kind of sitting down for a long period. We have about 10 minutes. 10 minutes until we start the varsity finals. It's actually, sorry, JV finals, actually 13 minutes. But I'm going to say if you want to spend 7 or 8 minutes, take a break real quick, get some air. You need to be back here in 8 minutes.
나 얘 이름 줄 알았어. 나 얘 이름 줄 알았어.
Wait, is this the recording? Is this the live stream? Yeah. Let's go.
I don't know. I'm gonna go.
Dude, you didn't do it. 오씨 깜짝아. 오목 이겼다? 안녕하자. 엄청 죽어.
얘한테 질 수가 있어.
얘 진짜 바보 같아. 근데 나대지 말라고. 내 말이 나대지 말라고.
또 지고 나서 내가 누가 나대지 말라고 했는데 제가 이기고 나서 그러면 누가 나대지 말라고
솔직히
했었나?
이번 게 내가 진짜 지고 있던 게 다 잘못 났어. 하얀색인데 다 잘못 났는데 얘가 마지막 스피커. 근데 얘가 설마 이거를 모를까? 그래서 딱 한 건데 얘가 왜?
중간에 몇 가지고
언니 왜?
왜또 왜?
아니 이거 좀왜왜 놓고 가지고 어딨어?
뭐래? 나 폰이야. 튀어.
원목해야
카메라 진짜 못 찾냐?
예지야, 잘 가줄게. School overall, then we're like, I didn't.
The last one, the corner drop the script.
야 Where's my wallet?
Did you get it?
No, I
Alright, if your teams are not back yet, you're going to start go getting your teams.
Why are we still running?
언니 광주. I don't care about this one.
Oh no, I must have stolen something.
Who took your phone? Han! But wait, then whose phone did Han have? Hers! Then whose phone did we put Han's phone? His two phones? No. Yeah, wait, I don't get
No, I know, but that's the
Hello. Okay, everybody, please have a seat. Please have a seat.
Arad, what are you doing? Arad.
If you're not participating, please have a seat quickly. All right, while I get a chance, we have some people come in, new classes have come in. Please don't forget, turn off your cell phone. Sorry about that. I had a do not disturb and it got overruled. And make sure that you are not shouting answers and staying quiet. While I get a chance, real quick before we start here in 38 seconds, I just see him up there. Julian, is that you up there in the balcony? Can you stand up, Julian? All right.
10, 9,
It's about that time.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JV Academic Games 2017 final competition between AESA and DAAA. Both teams come on up.
Come on,
Like Triple H, but Triple
All right, we called them up here a bit differently than we did for the constellation because it is the final, and we'd like to know who's participating for each team. So, if you could just announce your first name and your team members, and we'll go around the team. So, AES, can you introduce yourselves, please?
Yo, what's up? I'm Ashish.
Sander.
I'm Manes. I'm Maria.
And DAAA, if you can introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Akshat.
I'm Rashid.
Hi, I'm Christian.
I'm Varun.
Okay, best of luck to both teams. Before we begin, can I just ask who your speakers are? Thank you, and we'll just do a quick buzzer test.
And speakers, please remember to speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
AES? DAA? Timer, are you ready? Scorekeepers, you ready? All right, here we go. Good luck to you both. Toss up, palindromes. What is the last word in the palindrome that begins with this? Swap.
Pause.
Correct for 5. Bonus, inequalities. If 10x minus 45 is less than or equal to 45, then x must be less than or equal to what value? 9 is correct for 2. Toss-up, regional similarities. The Karakum in Turkmenistan, the Tar in India,
Deserts.
that is correct for 5. Bonus, Herculean feats. Where did Hercules have to go to fetch Cerberus?
The underworld.
I'm sorry, the answer was Hades. Toss-up, venomous snakes. Most of the human snake bites cases in India are caused by the
Cobra.
That is correct for 5. Bonus, verbs. What kind of verb is illustrated in these lines? I am feeling funny. I do not know the way to Santa Fe. I might see a leprechaun. I have been working on the railroad. I'm sorry, the answer is helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. Toss up, Latin America. The name of what Latin American country literally translates as Republic of...
Dominican Republic.
Sorry, that's incorrect. The name of what Latin American country literally translates as Republic of the Savior?
El Salvador.
El Salvador is correct for 5. Bonus, population density. In July of 2016, there were 15,414,000 people living in 134 square miles that make up the city of Dhaka in Bangladesh. To the nearest 1,000, that equals how many people per square mile?
115,030 per square mile.
The answer here is 115,000. I'm not going to give you that. Toss-up, Hawaiian geology. At Nakale Point on the island of Maui, water can be thrust upward through an opening in the ground.
Geyser.
Sorry, that's incorrect. At Nakale Point on the island of Maui, water can be thrust upward through an opening in the grounds as high as 100 feet from pressure generated by strong waves. This site is an example of what kind of hole? Blowhole is correct for 5. Bonus, astronomy history. What Renaissance scientist credited with discovering the phases of the planet Venus, the existence of sunspots, and that of the moon is covered with craters? That is correct. Correct for 2. Toss-up. Island namesakes. What islands my apologies, I'll start the next one. Toss-up. Inflammations. Name the inflammation of the narrow vestigial process that
Clots.
That's incorrect. Name the inflammation of the narrow vestigial process that protects from the cecum in the lower right-hand part of the abdomen. Correct for 5. Bonus, fractional ratios. In lowest terms, express the ratio of 7/4 to 1/8. That's correct for 2. Toss-up, island nicknames. The Red Island is the nickname of what country in the Indian Ocean?
Sri Lanka.
Sorry, that's incorrect. The Red Island is the nickname of what country in the Indian Ocean off the southeast coast of Africa? Correct for 2. Can I ask you to speak into the microphone? Thanks. Correct for 5. Bonus, radioactivity. Starting with 1 milligram of a radioisotope with a half-life of 1,600 years, after 3 half-lives, what part of a milligram of the original sample of radium remains?
.25 milligrams.
Sorry, the answer is 0.125. Toss-up, heroes. What is the collective name for the Greeks who sailed the Argo?
The Argonauts.
Correct for 5. Bonus, circulatory system. What structures in the circulatory system have about the same diameter as erythrocytes?
Capillaries.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, ancient Egypt. The northern half of ancient Egypt was called Lower Egypt.
Upper Egypt.
That's incorrect. The northern half of ancient Egypt was called Lower Egypt because it was near the delta of what river?
Nile.
Correct for 5. Bonus, power. What 3-word saying has this meaning? Those who are the strongest will rule, and therefore they have the power to determine right and wrong.
Might is right.
Close, but the same as might makes right. Toss-up, work rates. If your custom doohickey machine makes 45 copies of a doohickey in 25 seconds, what is the rate of doohickey?
I defer to Sander.
108.
Sorry, that's incorrect. If your custom doohickey machine makes 45 copies of a doohickey in 25 seconds, what is the rate of doohickey production per second?
1.8.
Correct for 5. Bonus, sculpture. These famous sculptures were created from what kind of metamorphic rock? Discobolus, Pieta, Laocoon, Aphrodite of Milos.
Marble.
That is correct for 2. Toss-up, headlines. What kind of wordplay is illustrated in this newspaper headline? What an Eiffel? for 5. Correct for 5. Bonus, clauses. What kind of subordinate clauses answer such questions as how, when, why, where, to what extent, and under what conditions?
Conditional clause.
Adverbial clauses is the answer. Toss-up, averages. What is the average of the first 5 numbers that are either composite or prime?
4.
4 is correct. Bonus, angles. If 2 complementary angles are in the ratio of 5 to 4, what is the measure of half of the larger angle?
50.
Sorry, the answer is 22. Toss-up, body systems. What system that consists of special cells, proteins, tissues, and organs continuously defends the body against?
The immune system.
Correct for 5. Bonus, penguins. What kind of penguin can remain submerged for more than 50 minutes and dive to depths of nearly 900 feet?
Emperor penguin.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, life forms. Species of what life form may have these shapes? Spirala,
Mollusks.
that is incorrect. Species of what life form may have these shapes? Spirala, cossi, vibrio, Spirochetes, and bacilli.
Bacteria.
Correct for 5. Bonus, musical notes. If the A note measures 440 hertz, what is the name of the note at 880 hertz?
A.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, magnetism. What kind of magnet ceases to be magnetic when the current flowing?
Electromagnet.
Correct. 4, 5. Here is your bonus. Circulatory system. What organ is supplied with blood by the left and right coronary arteries?
Heart.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, European history. What European country that was split in 1949?
I defer to Sandra.
Germany.
Correct for 5. Bonus, reservation cancellations. Mr. Totsi lives 60 miles from Tuba City and Mr. Bigay lives 20 miles from Tuba City. They both leave their homes simultaneously. If Mr. Totsi travels at 60 miles per hour, how fast must Mr. Bigay drive to arrive at Tuba City at the same time?
20 miles an hour.
That is correct for 2. Toss-up. What kind of metaphors are these? I smell a rat, but I will nip him in the bud. So here's where the rubber meets the road and I'm sorry. Okay, toss-up. Ulceration. A canker is an ulceration in what part of?
In your kidneys.
That is incorrect. A canker is an ulceration of what part of the human body?
Throat.
Mouth or lips is the correct answer. Toss-up, art forms. In contrast to visual arts, what is the collective?
Performing arts.
Incorrect. In contrast to visual arts, what is the collective name for these artistic practices? Origami, embroidery, ikebana, knitting, calligraphy, beadwork, lapidary, ceramics.
Fine arts.
Crafts is the answer. Toss-up, clauses. What broad category of clauses begin with words such as when, if, which?
Dependent.
Is correct for 5. Bonus, fighting infection. When an area becomes infected, your body's immune system responds by sending white blood cells to the infected area, where they may collect in a pocket called a what?
Pustule.
Sorry, abscess is the answer. Toss-up, inventions. In the 16th century, a huge graphite deposit was discovered in England. The pure graphite was sawn into sheets and then cut into narrow square rods, that were inserted into hand-carved wooden holders.
Pencils.
Correct for 5. Bonus, novels. These works concern people in what line of work? Bloody Jack, The Black Corsair, Captain Blood, Under the Jolly Roger. That is correct for 2. Toss-up, physiological responses. For temperature regulation, landforms, toss-up. What landform has these characteristics? An elongated, narrow portion of land.
Isthmus.
Correct for 5. Bonus, ratios. Simplify the following ratio. 36x squared to 6x.
6x to 1.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, Latin American borders. Name either of the 2 South American countries that are bordered by both Colombia
Chile.
That is incorrect. Name either of the 2 South American countries that are bordered by both Colombia and Peru.
Venezuela.
Brazil or Ecuador were the answers. Toss-up, subatomic physics. The movement of what subatomic particles?
Electrons.
Correct for 5. Bonus, figures of speech. What figure of speech is illustrated in the song lyric? Cry me a river, I cried a river over you.
Hyperbole.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, triangles. What kind of triangle is created by connecting the endpoints of a line segment with any point on the...
Isosceles triangle.
Correct for 5. Bonus, glare. Glare is significantly reduced or eliminated by wearing what type of sunglasses?
Polarized.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, kilns. Name a special brick used to hold the heat in the kiln and withstand high temperatures. Sculptures. In both low light relief and high relief sculpture, the figures stand out from what?
From the backdrop.
Correct for 5. Bonus, fumaroles. Vapor escaping from a fumarole sometimes cools to form yellow-colored deposit around its margin. Name this non-metallic element. Sorry, it was their top bonus.
Sulfur.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, trees. Certain of these trees are estimated to be at least 15...
Sequoia.
That is incorrect. Certain of these trees are estimated to be at least 1,500 years old, and some may actually be in the neighborhood of 4,000 years old. Name these fruit trees of the Mediterranean.
Pomegranate trees.
Sorry, the answer is olive. Toss-up, museums. In 1793, what fortress that had served as a royal palace in Paris...
Bastille.
That's incorrect. In 1793, what fortress that had served as a royal palace in Paris for over 400 years began its transformation into the largest museum in the world?
Versailles.
Sorry, Louvre is the answer. Toss up a question about questions. If you had 200,000 academic competition questions and you could somehow maintain reading and answering them at the rate of 3 per minute, and you kept this rate up ceaselessly for 8 hours per day to the... If you had 200,000 academic competition questions and you could somehow maintain reading and answering them at the rate of 3 per minute, and you kept this rate up ceaselessly for 8 hours per day to the nearest 10, how many days would it take you to get through all of them?
$139 days.
That's incorrect. The answer asks for the nearest 10, which would be 140. Toss-up, invertebrate capabilities. A crayfish can grow new claws, and a lizard can grow a...
Regeneration.
Correct for 5. Bonus, Antarctic mammals. Name the largest seal on the Antarctic continent.
Elephant seal.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, legends. What fruit is associated...
Pomegranate.
Incorrect. What fruit is associated with a gift that Hercules stole from the Hesperides, the nickname of New York City, a feat performed by William Tell, and the discovery of a scientific law by Isaac Newton?
Apple.
Correct for 5. Bonus, capitals. Name any of the 3 North African capital cities that are adjacent to the Mediterranean.
Tripoli.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, business cogitation. Business idioms include cutting corners, going for broke, taking a long shot, and thinking out of what? Oh, sorry. Oceanography. This is toss-up. Oceanography. What do oceanographers call a more or less continuous?
Ridge.
Incorrect. What do oceanographers call a more or less continuous, directed, horizontal flow of seawater?
A wave.
Sorry, it's called a current. Toss-up, petrology. What sedimentary cryptocrystalline form of the mineral quartz was used to ignite the gunpowder?
Flint.
Correct for 5. Bonus, triangles. In a right triangle, the measure of one acute angle is 5 times as great as the measure of the other. What is the measure of the larger one? Correct for 2. Toss-up, postulates. In geometry, what is the maximum number of planes that can pass through any 3
1.
Correct for 5. Bonus, birds. These are varieties of what kind of birds related to ducks and geese? Black, mute, tundra, whooper, trumpeter.
Puffin.
Sorry, the answer is swans. Toss-up, historical periods. These titles are about what period in European history?
Renaissance.
Incorrect. These titles are about what period in European history? Heraldry, the knights, tournaments, living in castle times, the crusades, and the crusader states.
Medieval.
Correct for 5. Bonus, the Mideast. What Mideast country was named for the Emir Ibn Saud?
Saudi Arabia.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, viscosity. What can you do to a viscous liquid to decrease the molecular
Decrease the temperature.
That is incorrect. Viscosity. What can you do to a viscous liquid to decrease the molecular attraction between molecules and make it easier to pour?
Dilute.
The answer is to heat it. Toss-up, earth science. What natural structure is comprised almost entirely of dihydrogen monoxide?
Ocean.
Incorrect. What natural structures comprised almost entirely of dihydrogen monoxide are built through accumulation and eroded by ablation?
Rivers.
Glaciers is the answer. Toss-up, veggies. What is the collective name for vegetables that include
Legumes.
Incorrect. What is the collective name for vegetables that include tubers, rhizomes, corms, bulbs, tuberous roots, and tap roots? In your time, what is the collective name for vegetables that include tubers, rhizomes, corms, bulbs, tuberous roots, and tap roots?
Potatoes.
Root vegetables is the name. Toss-up, ceramic puns. What word for a special type of oven is missing from Correct for 5. Bonus, medieval equipment. An ETM might use an automated external defibrillator to restore the function of what body organ?
The heart.
That is correct for 2. Toss-up, half-lives. A certain isotope has a life of 30 years. How much of a 1 gram sample of that isotope would remain? Have I not pulled this thing again? Sorry. Okay. Toss-up, photoreceptors. What photoreceptors function in very light?
Pupil.
Incorrect. Photoreceptors. What photoreceptors function in very low light conditions?
Rods.
Correct for 5. Bonus. The Great Divide. The continental divide of North America is crossed by what? This is your bonus, right? By what canal? Canal.
Panama.
Correct for 2. Toss up. Eye color. The eyes of people with what congenital
Mutation.
That is incorrect. The eyes of people with what congenital disorder are shades of red?
Albino.
That is correct for 5. Bonus, octagons. In a concave octagon, how many interior angles measuring more than 180 degrees can there be?
Four.
That is correct for 2. Toss-up, half-lives. A certain isotope has a half-life of 30 years. How much of a 1 gram sample of that isotope would remain after 90?
0.25 grams.
That is incorrect.
1/8.
1/8 is correct for 5. Bonus. Marine life. What marine creature that is the largest toothed predator is also the largest of the toothed whales?
Killer whales.
Sorry, the answer was sperm whale. Toss up. Ornithology. In relation to birds, these are types of what? Cup, dome.
Beaks.
Sorry, that's incorrect. In relation to birds, these are types of what? Cup, dome, dome and tube, plate, bed, scrape, mound, burrow.
Nests.
Correct.
Congratulations. ASA. That was quarterfinals. Our next final will start in just about 10 minutes. That'll be the varsity final. Our next final will start in just about 10 minutes with our varsity final. Our varsity final will be between ACSB and DAAA. That'll be in just about 10 minutes. Get a chance. Go to the toilet. Go catch some air real quick. 10 minutes.
Truly though? Yes.
Yeah, has good chocolate. Yeah, has good chocolate. But they're really pissed. They're really They're really pissed because like you know how this thing is he made
80 specializes in
if I was, no, exactly the same. If I was on that team, we would have failed because our math stuff is usually.
No, it's the judge's decision.
Are you serious?
Dude, that's what we don't fuck about that.
Do we wait to judge decisions?
But it was pretty, most of the questions I could answer.
Not like that, like in the last 2 seconds. Yeah. No,
I'm not saying that I would replace any one of them because I have so much respect for them right now. Because like, but at the same time I would probably.
Are you gonna like give them a statue ovation for the day? I did. No, not like the awards. No, everyone is. That was like good. That was all good. I know the law.
Hey, you guys stand up for our medal. Stand up for our medal.
You don't have a medal.
Yeah. Stand up for our medal.
Actually, what is your medal? Stand up for your medal. Actually, depends on whether or not the rest of us depends on whether or not the rest of us on binary divisions.
Okay,
no, because I practiced. No, I did. I literally taught one the quick way to do this.
I don't know the quick way to do I did one RC1
I know.
I didn't know that. What? How the hell? We got first and
You would have fun. They would have come
We
forward.
studied like and that ruined our Olympiad.
I'm just trying to figure out where the
No, we were set for 5:30 for Olympiad, and then we go 1.5 seconds. We got back to 8 seconds.
All right, let's take our seats, please. Please take your seats.
We could have gotten 2 medals.
I might try for debating forensics this year because I want a goddamn medal. But I want at least one Nisa goddamn medal. No, because literally the only Nisa thing I've done is I've it's always in the center. Dude, we got first in art. You did?
Guys, listen, you missed bronze by 1.5.
Humanities. Yo, you're gonna win a
medal?
No, they almost won. They got bronze overall.
We got bronze overall.
Yeah, we started off
Who's got bronze?
I won us the arts. Yeah, and I know nothing about arts. Yeah, but we still got first prize.
Overall, JV. Bronze, you got bronze. That means you got
Please take your seats.
You do it next year, you do it, right? It wasn't even June. It said June. That's your, let's chill. Yo, next year I want to do it.
You would have won that match.
It's like basically same thing for us.
Last year?
I did shot for a good
Then why don't you do it?
But this Chamberlain literally had because I hate her. Like she liked me until she realized that I hate her. Because she's literally because she's literally on speed and her soul cuts me and her entire attitude.
Alright, about that time, can we please close the doors down here over there? Thank you.
After that, like, I'm being cordial.
Alright.
I'm not going to go.
I don't need quite that much gain. I'm pretty loud. And I'm not standing in front of a speaker, so thank you. Excellent. Alright, welcome to those of you up in the balcony again. Just a reminder, please turn off your cell phones. For all audience members, please do not shout out any answers. Alright? And we'll go ahead and get started, because it's exactly the right time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the final competition of the weekend, the Varsity Academic Games Finals. Alright, we're going to call the teams up first. Let's bring up the 5th seed. Sorry, the 3rd seed, ACSB. Their opponents in this final, the 1st seed, DAAA. Alright, teams. Just like we did for the JV final, we're going to have you introduce yourselves, but since we do have some seniors probably, and we kind of want to know what grade level you are in, so this is Varsity Championship, so if you can, we'll start with ACSB, if you can announce your name and your grade level, and then we'll go around.
I'm Rohan and I'm a senior.
My name is Salahuddin and I'm also a senior.
My name is Hassam and I'm also a senior.
My name is Benny and I'm a junior.
My name is Sammy, I'm grade 11.
My name is Anitej and I'm a senior.
My name
name is Shrey Thopper and I'm a senior.
My name's Kainas and I'm also a senior.
Speakers for the teams, please remember to speak into the microphone so that our streaming can hear. All right.
Okay, teams, if we could please have you test your buzzers, DAA. Okay, and speaker. Very good. Good luck to both teams, and here we go. Toss-up, biomes. What continent has the greatest extent of savanna biomes?
Africa.
Correct for 5. Your bonus, law history. Name the Greek citizen who was chosen to write a code of law for Athens in the 7th century BC, which ended up including the death penalty for many offenses.
He'll say it. Pliny the Elder.
Incorrect is Draco. Toss-up, reproduction. What term indicates the reproductive pattern in which males mate with several females during the course?
Non-monogamous.
Incorrect. So, what term indicates the reproductive pattern in which males mate with several females during the course of a single breeding season?
Polygamous?
Incorrect is polygamy or polygynous. Okay. Toss-up, heirs. Who holds the dubious honor of being the longest-serving heir apparent to the British throne?
Prince Charles?
Correct for 5. Bonus, sculpture geography. Since the sculpture entitled The Monument to the Discoveries is located on the bank of the Tagus River, it must be located in what country?
Iraq.
No, it was Portugal. Toss-up, mass executions. In the 1790s, what leader of the committee
Robespierre.
Correct for 5. Your bonus, economist. The 18th century British economist who argued that famine, disease, and war are important and necessary natural population controls was Thomas who?
He'll say it. Thomas Perry.
Incorrect, it was Malthus. Toss-up, Chinese policies. The One China policy primarily concerns what major
Taiwan.
Correct for 5. Bonus, midpoints. What is the midpoint of a line segment with endpoints at 1, 1 and 3, 5?
Two, 3.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, drama techniques. The opening scene of Act 5 of Hamlet features a gravedigger bantering with Hamlet. Such use of a
Comedic relief?
Correct for 5. Bonus, nuclear nations. In 1974, on the traditional anniversary of Buddha's enlightenment, what country detonated its first nuclear device in the Rajasthan desert?
India.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, algae. Name the green pigmented bodies.
Kelp.
Incorrect. Name the green pigmented bodies found within the cells of green algae.
Chlorophyll.
Incorrect is chloroplasts. Toss-up, insects. Based on these classifications, you know immediately that these insects possess what? Siphon up.
Sting?
Incorrect. Based on these classifications, you know immediately that these insects possess what? Siphonaptera, Paleoptera, Orthoptera, Dermaptera, Megaloptera.
Antennae.
Incorrect is wings. Toss-up treaties. The Treaty of Portsmouth resulted when Theodore Roosevelt brought together delegates from what two countries?
Russia and Japan.
Correct for 5. Your bonus, elements. In relation to boron, what are alpha rhombohedral boron, beta rhombohedral boron, and alpha tetragonal boron?
Allotropes.
Correct for 2. Toss-up landforms. Grays Harbor in Washington, San Francisco Bay in California, and Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island are examples of submerged, unglaciated river valleys called what?
Basin.
Incorrect.
Delta.
Incorrect. Rias? Toss-up song grammar. What kind of phrases are illustrated in the first few lines of the song, The Impossible Dream?
Subjunctive.
Incorrect.
Adverbial.
No, it was infinitive. Toss-up novels. These lines are from what work by Mary Shelley?
Frankenstein.
Correct for 5. Your bonus, friendships. Mark Twain had an enduring friendship with what remarkable electrical engineer who developed the principles of alternating current?
Nikola Tesla.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, ratios. You have two numbers. Their difference, their sum, and their product are in the ratio of 1 to 3 to 8. If one of the numbers is 4, incorrect. You have two numbers. Their difference, their sum, and their product are in the ratio of 1 to 3 to 8. If one of the numbers is 4, what is the other?
5.
Incorrect, it was 8. Toss-up, painters. What 20th century Dutch artist produced?
Vincent van Gogh.
Incorrect. What 20th century Dutch artist produced drawing hands? The famous lithograph that depicts a sheet of paper on which two flat wrists are drawn, out of which hands holding pencils become three-dimensional and appear to be drawing each other.
M.C. Escher.
Correct for 5. Bonus, explosion injuries. This description of injuries resulting from certain explosions includes the abbreviation for what tract? Underwater blast injuries occur mostly in the GIT and less commonly in the lungs.
Gastrointestinal tract.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, drug categories. While hashish and marijuana are cannabinoids and tranquilizers and
Opioids.
Incorrect. While hashish and marijuana are cannabinoids and tranquilizers and barbiturates are depressants, what is the general category for drugs such as mescaline and LSD?
Stimulants.
Incorrect, it was hallucinogens. Toss-up, classical music. These are movements from what suite by Jean Sibelius? The Song of Wainamoinen. The Finns are baptized by Bishop Henry Duke.
Suite 3.
Incorrect. These are movements from what suite by Jean Sibelius? The Song of Wainamoinen. The Finns are baptized by Bishop Henry Duke Johan's court. The Finns in the 30 Years' War. The Great Hostility. Finland awaits.
The Scandinavian suite.
Incorrect, it was Finlandia. Toss-up, anatomy. The mastoid process is part of what body system? Incorrect. Yes, out of your time. The mastoid process is part of what body system?
Endocrine.
No, it's the skeletal. Toss-up, linguistics. What is the term for the pairs of English and Spanish words in this list?
Cognates.
Correct for 5. Bonus, vaccines. In 1796, Edward Jenner conducted his first test of a vaccine to prevent what disease?
Smallpox.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, mountain vocabulary. What term derived from the Spanish word for a little rope or a small cord? Incorrect. What term derived from the Spanish word for a little rope or a small cord indicates an extensive system of parallel mountain ranges?
Cordova.
Incorrect. Cordillera. Toss-up, horrific acts. In protests against the South Vietnamese government in the 1960s, monks of what religion?
Buddhism.
Correct for 5. Bonus, legal defenses. The German legal defense, an order is an order, or I was only following orders, is known as what defense named for the city that was the venue for the Allied trials of war criminals in 1945 and 1946?
He'll say it.
Nuremberg defense.
Correct for 2. Toss up, the Chinese calendar. There are 5 elements in Chinese astrology, including wood, water, earth, metal.
5.
Correct for 5. Bonus, European governments. Practically all major laws since the creation of its constitution in 1848 have been adopted through referendums. This system of legislation, seen in no other country, is used by what alpine nation?
Switzerland.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, pact. The Iberian Pact of 1939.
Portugal. Correct for 5.
How do you feel you're a shepherd?
Bonus. Ready? Okay, bonus, pronouns. What plural reflexive pronoun completes this passage from 1984? Never again will you be capable of ordinary human feeling. Everything will be dead inside you. Never again will you be capable of love or friendship or joy of living or laughter or curiosity or courage or integrity. We shall squeeze you empty and then we shall fill you with
ourselves.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, space sickness. Astronauts may suffer space sickness until what body system associated
nervous system?
Incorrect. Astronauts may suffer space sickness until what body system associated with the inner ear adapts to weightlessness?
Endocrine.
No, it's the vestibular system. Toss-up, wood. Well, teak, oak, and walnut are hardwoods from angiosperms, red cedar, Douglas fir.
Softwoods.
Incorrect. Well, teak, oak, and walnut are hardwoods from angiosperms. Red cedar, Douglas fir, and yew are softwoods from what other broad category of plant life?
Deciduous.
No, gymnosperms. Toss-up, imperialism thwarted. During the 19th century conquest by Africa by European nations, what was the only African?
Ethiopia.
Correct for 5. Bonus, epithets. These are epithets of what Greek god? Son of Kronos, the cloud gatherer, he who holds the aegis, father of gods and men, master of bright lightning.
Zeus.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, marine life. Benthos is the community of organisms that live on, in,
Coral reefs.
Incorrect. Benthos is the community of organisms that live on, in, or near the seabed in a region known as what zone?
The abyss.
No, the benthic zone. Toss up medieval weaponry. What device used in medieval times to hurl flaming...
Trebuchet.
Incorrect. What device used in medieval times to hurl flaming bundles, large stones, and infected animal carcasses into fortification?
Catapult.
Incorrect. It was ballista. Toss up 4th century history. In the 4th century, the Roman Empire split into 2 separate pieces.
The Byzantine Empire.
Correct for 5. Bonus, bridges. What country controls a land bridge between Africa and Asia?
Egypt.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, meteorology. In 2017, these formations were added to an international meteorological atlas of what?
Hurricanes.
Incorrect. In 2017, these formations were added to an international meteorological atlas of what? Asperatus, Cavum, Muris, Cauda, Fluctus, Flumen, Flamigentus, Homogentus, Sylvagenitus, Carictogenitus.
Winds.
No clouds. Toss-up, chemistry. What kind of chemical agent gives up electrons?
Oxidizing agent.
Incorrect. What kind of chemical agent gives up electrons to another chemical compound?
Reducing agent.
Correct for 5. Your bonus, showers. What kind of shower seems to originate from a radiant?
Meteor shower.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, interior angles. How many sides does a polygon have if the sum of its interior angles is 7,000? Incorrect. How many sides does a polygon have if the sum of its interior angles is 7,380 degrees? No, it was 43. Toss-up, glands. What endocrine gland is under the breastbone?
Thyroid gland.
Incorrect. What endocrine gland is under the breastbone just above the heart?
Thymus.
Correct for 5. Bonus, 20th century European quotes. Who said these things? Fascism accepts the individual only insofar as his interests coincide with the state's. The Mediterranean will be turned into an Italian lake. I've had my fill of Hitler.
Mussolini.
Correct for 2. Toss-up, pains. What is the colloquial name for cephalalgia?
Headache.
Correct for 5. Bonus, peninsulas. What great peninsula is bordered by the Bering Strait to its east, the Bering Sea to its south, and the Kukchi Sea to its north?
Siberian.
No, it's the Kukchi Peninsula. Okay. Toss-up, atoms. The charge number of the nucleus of an atom of an element equals what other number?
Proton number.
Correct for 5. Bonus, enduring questions. In relation to SETI, what word completes this question? Are we?
I defer to Shrey.
Searching for extraterrestrial intelligence?
No, just alone. Toss up now. Toss up, now who's biggest? In 2011, Algeria became the largest African country after the southern.
Sudan.
Correct for 5. Bonus, physicians. Name the famed Greek physician from the age of Pericles. Pericles, sir.
Hippocrates.
Correct for 2. Toss up numbers. In relation to imaginary numbers, what is I to the negative?
One.
Incorrect. In relation to imaginary numbers, what is I to the negative 5th power?
1 over I.
Incorrect. Negative I. Toss up. French challenge. Okay. Stop time. Okay, here we go. Toss up. French history. What last king of France was Marie Antoinette?
King Louis the 17th.
Incorrect. What last king of France was Marie Antoinette's husband?
King Louis XVI.
Correct for 5. Bonus, metal technology. A bimetallic strip is made by binding together two metals with different coefficients of thermal what?
Conductivity.
Incorrect is expansion. Toss up, physical changes. What happens to a substance when it deliquesces?
It gets more viscous.
Incorrect.
Coalesces.
Incorrect, it melts or dissolves. Toss up, petrology, also known as desert varnish or weathering rind.
Lacquer.
Incorrect. Also known as desert varnish or weathering rind, what do geologists call the discolored film or thin outer layer produced on the surface of exposed rock?
Moss.
No, it was patina. Toss up, writing. What is a comparable grammatical term for the linking adverbs?
Tag verbs.
Incorrect. What is the comparable grammatical term for the linking adverbs in these lines? Nevertheless, she was astounded. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we branded. Above all, to thine own self be true. Furthermore, your candidate has no spine.
Compound.
It was transitions. Toss up, Spanish history. After a strong communist turnout in the 1936 elections, what fascist
Francisco Franco.
Correct for 5. Bonus, rock. These are types of what kind of rock found in the United States? Coconino, Aquia Creek, Dakota, Frida, Entrada, Navajo, Jacobsville, Potsdam, Tapeats, Wingate.
Sedimentary.
Incorrect was sandstone. Toss up, funny fluids. In 2017, American researchers announced that
Oobleck.
Incorrect. In 2017, American researchers announced that they had created a fluid that, when pushed, accelerates backwards instead of moving forwards. They claim that this fluid has what kind of mass?
Negative mass.
Correct for 5.
Skip bonus.
Toss-up, islands. The Canary Islands are closest.
United Kingdom.
Incorrect. The Canary Islands are closest to what North African country?
Morocco.
Correct for 5. Bonus, anthropology. Humans share about 99.7% of their DNA with what extinct species of archaic humans named for a region in Germany where they were first found?
Homo erectus.
Knows Neanderthals. Toss-up, literary forms. In The Princess Bride, the romantic fairy tale is supposedly read by the grandfather. The structure is an example of what kind of...
Narration.
Incorrect. In The Princess Bride, the romantic fairy tale is supposedly read by the grandfather. The structure...
Frame narrative.
Excuse me?
Frame narrative.
Correct for 5. Toss-up, Asian nations. These are facts about what Asian country? It is among the world's largest tea.
China.
Incorrect. These are facts about what Asian country? It is among the world's largest tea exporters. It was the first country to elect a woman as head of state. It has a 92% literacy rate. It produces significant hydroelectric power. It is an island in the Indian Ocean.
Sri Lanka.
Correct for 5. Bonus, performing arts. In theater, the gap between a viewer's ordinary reality and the fictional reality depicted on stage, or the degree to which an audience is caught up in the performance, is called what kind of distance?
Viewing distance.
It was aesthetic distance. Toss-up, Latin. What Latin phrase meaning entirely is reminiscent?
Congratulations to both teams for the 2017 final. Congratulations to ACSB. Once again, we'd like to thank all of our readers, timers, and scorers that helped us out during this final and all weekend long. Give them a big thank you. And I hate to rush us, but there's another group that needs to actually use the theater now. So we need to grab our stuff, take all of our bags, and we're going to the Hall of Peace, where we'll have the awards ceremony and the dinner. So please grab all of your items. We will go to the Hall of Peace, or the Hop as it's called, as quickly as possible. Please don't leave anything in the theater.
We won because he beat us. Yeah, guys, we beat Bunny team, so we get gold. We get gold. I said this here. No, we beat his team by 15. No, we beat his team by like 40 points. 65-15? Yeah. We beat his team 65-15.
Once again, we need to clear the theater, please. Grab your stuff. We need to clear the theater. They have a rehearsal in here right now. Please do not leave anything in the theater.
सीबीएसई स्कूल है ना?
ये किसका है?
ये चार्जर चार्जर भी कहा भाई
यार माइक तो डालो
अभी प्रैक्टिस नहीं है।
अरे ये काल जी में लेके आया था इसको साल आए थे
वाला है टेक वाला ले जाएगा
यही छोड़ दूं
क्या लिखा है
उसमें लगता है ऑल एक्सेस वन मैंने लगाया था मैंने निकाल दिया इधर बैठी इधर काल के इसके रूम में थिएटर मैनेजर के रूम में
तो बोल देना उसको काली है
उर्दू खाली
लेके जाना है हाँ वो क्या है हाँ हाँ भाई
ये मुर्गा ऊपर ना हाँ 4 मिनट आई थी एक बंदे एकदम हेलो अरे यार ये साफ करवा दो भाई वो मैं कारपेट बिछा रहा हूँ गंदा हो गया और मेरे से हाँ थिएटर में इससे जल्दी भेजो मोरे नहीं आइसक्रीम ऑफिस में अरे ये साफ दिया सीधे यार 2 मिनट में हेलो
स्कूल आप सुन रहे
आइसक्रीम ऑफिस में किसके पास हाँ इधर बैठ हाँ एग्जाम उसको दे दो अगर वो नहीं है ना तो मुझे बताना मैं फिर आऊँगा उसको रूम में रखता हूँ
दिया सफाई छोड़ो इसको बोल दो खाली ट्रॉली वापस
ये लगा लो यार ये गंदी कैसे निकाली है फिर धोने की जरूरत है
ट्रॉली बजाने वापस
What's this? What's this? Well, ये दोनों रखो एक तरह
Sugar.
What's the matter with you? It's not cute, I guess.
I wouldn't say that.
Thanks for
Careless, maybe. Yay.
No. Okay, can I get you guys? Yeah, okay. Yeah, go this way.
अरे ये हटाने दूसरे क्या कर रहे हो? ये भी हटाने।
वो कंट्रोली दादेवर सोने के चक्कर में
कौन सी टोली?
रजनी मैडम को
कड़ी ने अंदर दिक्कत क्या कर रहे हो?
नहीं उसको रिजाइन की वीडियो दिखाई
Hey, you go, you shut that door over there. Yeah, coming, 1 sec, sorry. I'm just gonna shut the door. The paint